All right, let's just jump right in. If you're one of those people who has, a dozen different passions and you're always curious about the next new thing, you've probably hit a major wall with one very simple question. So today, we're going to break down how you can actually choose a niche when you're interested in everything and how to turn that thing you think is a weakness into your biggest strength.
This question. It seems so harmless, right? But I'm telling you, it has sunk more creative projects, more businesses, more brilliant ideas than pretty much anything else. It's that one little question that can cause weeks, months, sometimes even years of paralysis, stopping amazing people dead in their tracks. And for you, the multipotentialite, yeah, that's you with all your amazing, varied interests. This question doesn't feel like an opportunity. It feels like a trap. It feels like a life sentence, like someone is asking you to pick just one part of yourself and, I don't know, just throw the rest away? But what if that's not what choosing a niche is about at all? So, let's start by digging into the heart of the problem. Why does this pressure to pick just one thing, one single focus, so often lead to us doing, well, nothing at all? Look, there's a good reason why everyone is always talking about finding a niche. In a world that is just totally saturated with content and noise, being a generalist can make you invisible. A really clear niche, it's like a lighthouse. It just cuts through all the fog and it calls out to the exact people who need your help. Without it, you really do risk being just one of the many, and you never build up the trust you need to even get off the ground. So, the secret here isn't to just ignore the need for a niche. No, it's to completely redefine what a niche even means. We need to shift our mindset away from this idea of it being a restrictive little box to something that actually sets you free. Okay, this is probably the biggest myth that holds us all back. We think a niche is a lifelong cage. We think we're choosing one single thing forever, and that means sacrificing everything else we love. But the truth? It's just a starting point. It's about choosing one thing for now, just long enough to build some trust, get some momentum, and earn the right to expand later. So let's get super practical. A powerful niche is simply the combination of two things. That's it. A specific group of people plus an urgent problem they have. It's not about finding your one true soulmate calling in life. It's just about finding a clear intersection where you can step in and provide some real value.
I want you to burn this image into your brain. Your niche is not a prison that holds you down. It is a trampoline. Think about it. How does a trampoline work? It concentrates all of your force into one small, focused area to give you massive upward momentum. That's your niche. It's that focused surface you need to launch yourself high enough so that later you can soar in any direction you want.
Okay, that all sounds great, right? But how do you actually do it? How do you, with your love for web design and coaching and marketing and a million other things, how do you actually find that trampoline?
It all boils down to a really simple three-step process. First, we're going to reframe the question you're asking yourself. Second, we'll look at some proven markets to find real opportunities. And third, and honestly, this is the most important one, we're going to focus on how to act, test, and listen. Step one is this huge mental shift. You have to stop asking, what's my one true passion? That question is just way too big. It keeps you stuck in your head, just endlessly debating and going nowhere. Instead, I want you to ask, what problem for a specific group of people can I solve right now? See, a passion isn't always a profitable niche, but a concrete solution almost always is. And for step two, you don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Just look where the demand already is. For, decades, the markets of health, wealth, and relationships have been called evergreen for a reason. They tap into these deep, unchanging human desires. So if you can connect one of your interests to solving a problem in one of these areas, you're building on solid rock. And that brings us to the final, and like I said, the most critical step, action. You are not going to find your perfect niche by sitting on the couch thinking about it. You're only going to discover it by doing something. Pick a starting point, create an offer, put it out there, and then listen, really listen to the feedback. The market will always tell you if you're heading in the right direction. And this is where it all starts to click together. See, that first niche you pick, it's not the end of the road. It is just the first step toward building something so much bigger, a personal brand that can actually hold all of your passions. Let's make this real with an example. So maybe you love writing and you're also into fitness. You could start with the super specific niche, email copywriting for local gyms. It's clear, it solves a real problem for a specific audience, and it gets your foot in the door.
So once you've built up some trust, you've got a reputation, a portfolio of actual results, you can start to expand. Maybe you realize the core skill you've been honing is marketing, not just fitness writing. So you pivot a little, and you start offering those same skills to a broader group, like creative freelancers. See what's happening? You're not starting over, you're just strategically building on what you already have.
And then eventually you build a personal brand that becomes the container for all of your interests. People start following you not just for one topic, but for your unique take on online business or personal growth or creativity. The niche was just the front door. The brand is the whole house you get to build. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to talk about the single biggest risk you face as a multipotentialite. And I promise you, it is not what you think it is. Seriously, let that one sink in for a second. The greatest danger you face is not picking the wrong thing. The greatest danger is staying stuck, just waiting for that one perfect, magical idea to strike, and so you end up choosing nothing at all. Waiting for perfection doesn't just delay your progress, it actually guarantees you'll make none. So right now, here is your official permission slip. Treat your first niche as a temporary experiment, that's all it is. Give yourself the freedom to test it, to learn from it, and yeah, even to change your mind later. You're not chaining yourself to an identity for the rest of your life. You're simply putting your boat in the water and starting to paddle. And that brings us right back to the only question that really matters. This isn't about finding your niche for the next 10 years. It's about taking one small, imperfect step forward right now. So, what problem can you solve for somebody? What simple, messy experiment are you going to launch this week?